Fostering a culture of experimentation is about more than simply encouraging people to try new things. It's about transforming the very DNA of an organization or team to embrace curiosity, learning, and calculated risk-taking as core values. In today's rapidly changing world, where industries are disrupted overnight and new ideas can make or break a business, the organizations that thrive are those that empower their people to continuously explore, test, and adapt. At the heart of an experimental culture is the belief that progress comes not from playing it safe, but from challenging assumptions and learning from outcomes. This mindset starts with leadership. Leaders must model the behaviors they wish to see, demonstrating openness to new ideas, showing vulnerability by admitting when something hasn't worked, and celebrating lessons learned from failure as much as from success. When leaders talk openly about their own experiments, both the wins and the setbacks, it sends a powerful message. Experimentation is not a luxury or an afterthought. It's an expectation and a way of life. One of the first steps in building this culture is reframing how failure is perceived. In many organizations, failure is stigmatized, seen as something to hide or avoid at all costs. But in a culture of experimentation, failure is recast as a valuable source of information. Not every experiment will succeed, and that's okay. What matters is not the outcome of any single attempt, but what is learned in the process. Failure becomes data, a guidepost pointing toward better solutions. Teams are encouraged to ask, what did we learn, rather than who is to blame? To create a safe environment for experimentation, psychological safety is crucial. People must feel confident that they can propose bold ideas, ask questions, and challenge the status quo without fear of ridicule or retribution. This means recognizing and rewarding not just successful initiatives, but also the courage to try something new. It involves giving employees the autonomy to pursue their ideas, allocate time for creative exploration, and providing the resources necessary to experiment effectively. Processes and structures can be put in place to support experimentation. For example, organizations might adopt agile methodologies, breaking down big projects into smaller, testable increments. Regular retrospectives or review sessions can be instituted, where teams reflect on what worked, what didn't, and why. These rituals help normalize experimentation and make continuous improvement part of the daily routine. Experimentation thrives when it is connected to a clear purpose. Teams should understand not only what they are testing, but why. What customer need were they addressing? What hypothesis are they trying to validate? By grounding experiments in well-defined problems and desired outcomes, organizations avoid experimentation for its own sake and instead focus on generating meaningful insights. Another key element is democratizing experimentation. In some organizations, innovation is confined to a specific innovation team or a select group of individuals. But a true culture of experimentation invites participation from everyone, regardless of role or title. Frontline employees, with their first-hand knowledge of products, customers, and processes, often have unique perspectives on where change is needed. Encourage people at all levels to identify opportunities, propose experiments, and share their findings. This inclusivity not only generates more ideas, but also increases buy-in and engagement across the organization. The tools and infrastructure that support experimentation matter as well. This might include digital platforms for A/B testing, data analytics dashboards, or collaborative spaces where teams can brainstorm and prototype. Training can help build skills in hypothesis generation, experiment design, and data interpretation. The easier it is for people to try new things, measure results, and iterate, the more experimentation becomes woven into the fabric of daily work. Transparency is another hallmark of experimental cultures. Share the results of experiments widely, both the successes and the failures. Create forums, such as internal newsletters, learning sessions, or digital knowledge bases, where teams can document and discuss what they've learned. This not only prevents duplication of effort, but also helps build a collective memory of what works and what doesn't. A culture of experimentation also requires patience and persistence. Not every experiment will yield immediate or dramatic results. Sometimes progress is incremental and lessons accumulate over time. Leaders must resist the temptation to demand quick wins or to abandon experimentation at the first sign of difficulty. Instead, they should reinforce the message that learning is a long-term investment, and that sustained effort will pay off in greater innovation, resilience, and adaptability. The benefits of fostering a culture of experimentation are profound. Organizations become more agile, able to respond quickly to changing conditions and emerging opportunities. Teams develop greater confidence and creativity, unafraid to challenge conventional wisdom. Customer experiences improve as solutions are continually refined based on real-world feedback. Ultimately, the organization builds a sustainable competitive advantage, not from any single breakthrough, but from the collective capacity to learn and adapt faster than the competition. It's important to remember that fostering this culture is an ongoing journey, not a one-time initiative. It requires attention, reinforcement, and role modeling at every level. Celebrate the stories of teams who tried something new and learned from the experience, regardless of the outcome. Invest in the tools, training, and time that make experimentation possible. Above all, nurture an environment where curiosity is valued, questions are welcomed, and the pursuit of better ways of working is everyone's responsibility. In conclusion, fostering a culture of experimentation transforms organizations into dynamic, learning-focused communities. By embracing curiosity, reframing failure, ensuring psychological safety, and democratizing innovation, leaders can unlock the full creative potential of their teams. Through continuous experimentation, organizations not only solve today's problems, but also build the resilience and adaptability needed to thrive tomorrow. The journey may not always be easy, but the rewards, greater innovation, engagement, and long-term success are well worth the effort.